Hamstring injuries have officially entered the chat. Everywhere you turn, it seems like a star player from each team is doing a hamstring injury. 4 players just on this round, and it's absolutely crazy to see this earlier on in the season, but we were blessed with finally some really good Thursday and Friday night footy. So let's dissect all of the action from Thursday all the way up to Saturday night. Let's go. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining you as always is your host Trent Yolton, or some of you might know me as Tricky. And yes, we've been blessed with some really good games of footy this round, in particular our Thursday and Friday night actions. So let's get straight into dissecting all of those actions starting off for Thursday night. But first, before we get in, regular proceedings, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to leave a like and comment on this video, as that is really controlling the algorithm lately. More likes you're getting, the more people, newer listeners and newer watchers, subscribers I'm getting in. So please, guys, if you do enjoy this episode or video, whichever you want to call it, please leave a like and comment on this video / episode, as that will help push the show out there to newer listeners. And make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn notification bell on so you notify whenever we upload. If you're an audio listener listening to this via Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn notification bell on so you notify whenever we upload. Share this off to a mate, and please, guys, remember, if you do enjoy this show, please leave a 5-star rating, as that does help push the show out to newer listeners. But let's kick it off with Thursday night between the Hawks and the Swans. It was a close one at the G Thursday night, but it was the Hawks who came away with a 17-point victory over the Swans, as my phone goes down, which all has all my notes there. 14-15-99, the Hawks defeating the Swans 13-4, 82, a straight kicking Swans. As goal kickers for the Hawks, Jack Gunson just keeps on delivering. There is no reason why, if he doesn't continue his form, he could not win another All-Australian jacket like he did last year, and could not win the Coleman medal as well. He kicked 4. Dylan Moore responded in a massive way with 21 disposals and 3 goals. Mavio Chol was really good early, then went quiet a bit, but he still managed 2 in his 50th game. As for the Sydney Swans, Logan McDonald kicked 3. Charlie Curnow kicked 2 in the first quarter, then was quiet. We'll touch on that a bit later. As for disposals, Newcomb just keeps on delivering for the Hawks. I'd love to see him get a little bit of help in there, although Josh Ward was really good too. As for Newcomb, 31 at 81% efficiency, a goal, 9 clearances, and 7 scoring bombers. While Josh Ward, who I do rate, 27 and 8 scoring bombers. Callum Mills off that half-back line for the Swans had 29 at 83% efficiency, 8 marks and 7 intercepts. Chad Warner, with the loss of Errol Gould and Isaac Heaney, played a more midfield role rather than where he started the first few games, more playing half forward. Had a median impact, 27 disposals, a goal, 6 clearances, and 7 inside 50s. It was a fast start to the game, and we're wondering if this is what it was going to be like. Are we going to get 2 teams that are going to score well over 120 each? The league changed 6 times just in the first quarter. It was absolute insanity. We're like, geez, how long can they keep this up? While it did slow down, we still did get a really good game of footy. But what was apparent was the Sydney owned the ball in the first half, and that forced the Hawks to send an extra defender behind the ball in the second term to slow this down. But what the big key was, Charlie Curnow originally had the battle on Josh... a bit of a pun there. Had the battle with Josh Battle, and they thought, this is not quite working. So at halftime, they switched Tom Barrass. They switched Tom Barrass over to Charlie Curnow in the second half after 2 goals in the first quarter. And he kept him goalless after that and just absolutely read him like a glove and took him to absolute town. Charlie Curnow didn't even look like the Curnow we know. Big questions over him to start this season. We thought that the change in environment would be it. I get it, 3 games in, but he's not delivering on what we expect and what the Swans would have expected for him. Tom Barrass was, not only did he keep Curnow goalless, but 15 disposals, 80%, 6 marks, and 11 intercepts. And with the Hawks putting that extra behind the ball, it was a miss of Tom Barrass, Jack Scrimshaw, and James Sicily playing loose, which then allowed the attack to get the ball moving into the hands of John Newcomb. I thought Carl Amon was crucial down there as well. And then they just really owned the ball from there, the Hawks, and didn't look like losing from that point of view. But what a great start to Thursday night footy it was. Now let's head over to another banger on Friday night between the Crows and the Bulldogs. Friday night, the Adelaide Oval delivered an absolute cracker of a game with the Crows just falling short to the Bulldogs by 6 points after a brilliant and a bit of a miracle from Oscar Baker from the boundary to kick the game winner. And he's third for the game as well. It was 13-10, 88, defeated by 14-10, 94. Taylor Walker kicked 3, and let me rephrase that. Is Taylor Walker still the best field kick in the AFL at the age of 35? Some of the kicks that he is ripping off, he's done it throughout his career, but at the age of 35, that has not vanished. He's still one of the best inside forward. 50 kicks in the game of finding a target, and the way that goal that he kicked, he was either his second or third, where he was outside 50, tucked up on the boundary, and I actually sent to the group chat, I was like, he can kick this. And he just went back and took the absolute piss and drilled it from about 52 metres out, tucked up on the boundary on a set shot. Is Taylor Walker the best field kick still in the game at age of 35? It is a topic of discussion. Let me know in the comments. And if it's not Taylor Walker, because there is no doubt that Taylor Walker was the number one field kick in the game. When do you think that he was taken over as the number one field kick? And if so, who was it? So let me know about that in the comments. He kicked 3. Fogarty kicked 2. Rochelle was really important with 2 as well. Thilthorpe kicked 2. Jordan Butts also crept forward for a first career goal, which was a great sign. Joel Frazier lit the game up, especially in the first half. 13 and 3 in the first half. Finished with 3 goals, 24 disposals, 2 goal assists, and 12 score runs. Absolutely enormous that he's still only 20 years old. The mini Bond, as they call him, absolute ripper of a game. And doing a bit of TikTok I saw a bit earlier too with some of his pre-game nutrition. There's no question why he's dominated as much as he is, because he takes his diet very, very seriously, going by the TikTok. But he's just evolving right in front of our eyes in just his 3rd season. Norton kicked 3 as well. We mentioned Baker kicked 3. And Bailey Williams used to spend more of a halfback wing role. Now spending in time as a forward, and he's having a really good impact. He kicked another 2 after, I believe, he kicked 2 or 3 last week as well. Disposals-wise, the Crows, led by the skipper, Jordan Dawson, 25, a goal, 8 clearances and 7 tackles. He was quite impressive. Well, Worrell again continues his form off the half-back line. 25 disposals at 92% efficiency, 9 marks and 7 rebound 50s. Although the Crows didn't win the game, I'd love to know when opposition are going to say enough's enough and start putting time into Josh Worrell. I think it's quite... it's getting to that stage where he's dominating games that much. We saw it the second half of last year. Will there be a time, and if so, when a club says, nah, we're not having this, and put a defensive forward on him? I'm very interested to see with that one. Bontempelli, when the game was on the line and they needed someone to stand up, the champion stood up, the skipper. 30 disposals at 83% efficiency, a goal, 7 clearances, 6 tackles, 2 goal assists, and 7 score runs. Richards bounced back after a tag last week, which was a little bit down on his best form. 29 disposals, 8 inside 50s, and 571 metres gained. Liberatore doing what he does best, in and under with the grunt work. 28, 6 clearances, 9 tackles, and 8 score runs. And Matt Kennedy, again, proving why he's been such a good recruit in his second year here for the Bulldogs. 27 disposals, 8 clearances, 7 tackles, and 8 score involvements. One of the interesting moments was when the scoreboard shut down, no one knew how long was left. And it was getting to the dying stages of the game when the Crows were starting to come back after Bulldogs had led for most of the day. The Crows were coming, and no one knew how much time they had left. I believe it came back on with about 4 minutes to go. But no one, not even the coaches, the commentators, we, especially the viewers, had no idea. But I thought it was just a Fox Footy thing at the first. Then I went on the AFL app. That was down as well. It was up. It was something that had happened in the stadium. But imagine if that was the case and they couldn't get the message out to them. I guess you just have to play an instinct. Like that's not so bad. But having someone there to communicate how long's left, especially in those tight situations, is so crucial. Now, let's talk about the last 2 goals of the game. First of all, Isaac Rankin. First game back from his suspension. And Isaac Rankin delivered that. What a great performance. Great goal. Not many players can pull off a goal like that, tucked up on the boundary, turn away. And I've actually got a little surprise here for you guys. I actually did commentate it. I just happened to commentate it. Well, Connor, our former guest, I told him to turn the game back on, and he said, I said, Connor, turn it back on right now. He said, commentate for me. And I just happened to commentate when Isaac Rankin was going for goal. So let's have a look. Oh, well. Actually, yeah, no, I'll just put it to the mic. I won't bother connecting to the Bluetooth. Short target, he's found Rankin. He's told him. Hang on, we'll start again. Look to the short target, he's found Rankin. He's told to play on. Rankin wheels around. He can't, can he? He can't, can he? You bet he can. The Crows have hit the front. You won't believe it. It couldn't have been anyone but Isaac Rankin, the magician, and he celebrates with the crowd. The Crows are in the front of the Adelaide Oval. What a game for Friday night footy. Not bad if you say so myself. Not bad. But that was just the excitement that we had watching that game. It had us on the edge of our seats. And another player I'd love to highlight is Buku Karmas's the involvement of Buku Karmas and the way he started off this season. 20 disposals, 80% efficiency, 8 marks and 10 intercepts. I think he's been absolutely exceptional. Obviously plays as that undersized defender, and that's what one thing that the Western Bulldogs have been criticised for, and rightly so. They've got an elite midfield, elite forward line, especially tall forwards, but it's the defence that let them down. Buku Karmas is one of those ones who really stood up, so hats off to Buku Karmas to start off this 2026 season. Then we head over to Saturday, the Tigers v the Suns. A bit of a disappointing game out of this one, but the big news that came out of this was the hamstring injuries to Christian Petraaca, Tom Lynch and Toby Nankervis. 3 in just the one game of footy is absolutely absurd, especially Christian Petraaca, who started the game really well, but not just that, would have 2 best on ground performances to start the season on Brownlow watch. Now, he's going to have to sit at least 3 or 4 weeks on the sidelines, not the start he would have wanted after starting so well at his new club. Disappointing times, and that leadership down in the forward line Tom Lynch has down there is really good, and I don't think they have another ruckman who's going to be able to compete if Toby Nankervis, his scans come back and say it. So it's going to be really tough times for both clubs without them. Gold Coast definitely can cover Petraaca, but it's just the fact the start of the season Petraaca has had. But I don't know how the Tigers cover Nankervis. But it was the Gold Coast Suns who got the job done by 68 points. The Tigers 96-60 defeated by 19-14, 128. Seth Campbell kicked 3 for the Tigers. As for the Gold Coast Suns, Ben King's just the ultimate old school full forward. He stands in the square, he leads up, and he just goes bang. I believe he kicked 7. I believe it's 15 from 18 kicks now. Which is absurd. Ethan Reid announced himself, if he hasn't already, kicking 4 goals as well as taking a whopping 11 marks. He was huge. As for disposals, Jaden Short tried his heart out as he always does. 33, 13 marks, 730 metres gain. Hopper bounced back after a poor start last week, 26 and 6 clearances. Taranto was... You can't knock the effort that he put in with trying to fight for the footy. 26, 14 contested, 12 tackles and 6 clearances. But it was all the Suns, especially Took Miller, 31 at 84% efficiency, 1 goal, 2 goal assists and 10 score runs. And Bodie Yuland off that half-back line, 29 disposals, 83% efficiency, 16 marks and 10 marks. Just took the absolute Mickey in the end. One of the highlights of the game, though, was Morris Rioli chasing down Daniel Rioli and the little chuckle that they had there. It was funny to see. But other than that, there's not much really to talk about with this game of footy other than the injuries coming. But let's get into another belter of a game that happened at Engie Stadium. Engie Stadium produced a thriller between the Giants and the Saints, and it was the Saints winning their first game for the season, coming home with a 4-point victory over the home Giants. 11-12-78. The Saints defeated the Giants 10-14-74. Goal kicks for the Giants, Hogan and Goffard each kicked 2, while Higgins and Taru, who played a forward role, each kicked 2. Lockie Ash had plenty of the ball off that back line, as he always does. 39 disposals, 9 marks, 8 intercepts, 9 score runs, 734 metres gained. I think Oliver's really finding his feet there at the Giants. Now, they didn't get the win, but it was good to see him get score involvements. That's not something you often see of him. I think he had the highest score involvements on the ground. I may be mistaken, but he definitely did at one point. He had 33, a goal, 5 clearances, and 13 score involvements. Callahan had 32 disposals, while Whitfield, 28, 3 goals, 7 score involvements, and Stephen Canelio also had 28, 7 score involvements. Sinclair just doing what he does best off the half-back line. Neat use of the footy, 31 at 90%. Wilkie, 28 at 89%. 11 marks, 11 insets. That's insane as a key defender. The skipper leading from the front there. Wangani Malera bounced back after, I don't believe they decided to run a tag with him. He had 27, 5 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 3 goal assists, and 8 score runs, and 694 metres gained. Before we could witness this thrill of a finish, Lightning delayed the start of the game by 50 minutes. First was at the start, and they came back on, and they thought they were ready to go, but then they had to come back off for another 30. It was absolutely extraordinary scenes. There's not often you see a game delayed by Lightning, but 50 minutes is a long time, and I know by the end of the game, the coverage from KO cut over to Fremantle and Melbourne, who we'll touch on next, and it was already 10 minutes into the first quarter, so it was definitely could have had a big momentum impact on the game as players were already warmed up, but glad that we did still get a really good game on the ball. But at the end of the day, inaccurate kicking cost the Giants. I believe they'd kicked 3 goals, 9 at one point. That's the only reason they lost this game. They shouldn't have lost this game going by disposals, damage on play, but it's just they couldn't convert when they were in front of goals, and Adam Kingsley will be absolutely fuming at that because they shouldn't have lost this home game. The Saints should be 0-3, but not being able to finish in front of goal until the last quarter when they started kicking accurately, and they kicked 6 of the 7 last quarter goals. Or 5 of the 6. 5 of the 6 last quarter goals is when they started kicking accurately, but it was a little too late for that accurate kicking because the Saints just managing to hold on. But the Giants are making themselves known as kind of that Collingwood 2022-2023 era of last quarter comebacks. They've done it a couple times now. Even last year they did it. So they're good in crucial times, which is really good to see. But if they could just finish that accurate in front of goal, because I believe this is a couple times this has happened to them too. Brisbane Lions is another one who's been victim to this. They'll get plenty of more wins on the board, I believe. And there's no doubt, I know they're injury-ridden, but they should be 2-1 at this point, not 1-2. So that's the disappointing sign for the Giants, but they'll have to live with that now. But the Saints got off to a flying start. They kicked 7 goals in a row from early in the first quarter to midway through the second half and led at one point by 39 until the Giants did their little comeback they do late in the games, which was a little too late. So it was the Saints that got home in a final quarter thriller. Saturday night, we headed out to Optus Stadium for the Dockers and Melbourne. The two former ruckmans, teammates, came up against each other in Luke Jackson and Max Gawn, and it was Jackson who took home the chocolates. Not in the ruck battle, because that was Gawn, so he won. But on the scoreboard, the Dockers by 48 points. Really convincing, really, in the end. 17-16, 118. Defeated 10-10, 17, 48 points. Josh Tracy just dominated in the forward half. 4 goals, kicked 4 goals, 17 disposals, and also took 10 marks just to force. And it's really good to see when Josh Tracy is up and about, which he often is, but marking the ball at full stretch is just so strong and would be a hard matchup to come up on. Dudley was electric, kicking 3 goals all in the third quarter. I'm a big fan of Isaiah Dudley. He provides that little spark down there. Bolton, with Hayden Young being out through injury, spent more time through the midfield and was absolutely huge. A best on-ground performance for Bolton, without a doubt. 32 disposals, 2 goals, 9 clearances, 10 inside 50s, and 9 in score moments. And while Melbourne did run the tag on Caleb Sarong, Colton Thorstrop doing that, keeping him to 16 disposals and a goal. This allowed Andrew Brayshaw to bounce back after a little bit of a down start, and he was dominant in 39 disposals, a goal, and 10 score moments. I know he had 39, but I still would probably give the best on ground to Bolton with 32 and 9 clearances. you could go either way, but I'm giving it to Bolton, and you can even chuck Tracy in there. That's probably your top three. That's probably the top three best ones. It's Brayshaw, Bolton, Tracy. Murphy Reid. I put Murphy, but Murphy Reid also kicked two goals, and I believe he also had 24 disposals. If we pull that one up, I haven't written that one down because there were so many of them. Murphy Reid, 2 goals, 24 disposals, 7 scoring vomits, 3 clearances from his forced and bounce attendance. So obviously getting a little bit less time with Bolton getting a bit more time. Bolton started the first 2 games more of it at half forward. Now with Hayden Young out, went back in the midfield and absolutely took the piss at the end. Fritsch kicked 2 for the Demons, and Langdon and Sharp kicked 2 apiece as well. We mentioned Brayshaw, we mentioned Bolton. Clark off that half back line also had 25 at 92%, 8 rebound 50s, and 613 metres gained. Jack Steele, I'm thinking he could be a really good pickup here for the Demons, especially to help these young midfielders coming up. But he was huge, 31 disposals, 9 clearances, 9 tackles, 7 inside 50s. And something we don't really associate with Jack Steele is metres gained, because we know how he's down in and under type of player, contested ball. But he had 610 metres gained with his 31 disposals. So that's huge. And Salem, 26 disposals, 7 intercepts, 8 rebound 50s, and 608 metres gained. But Docker started on fire with a 7-goal opening quarter. And the only other thing I want to highlight on this game is look out for Colton Tholshaw, because I think this is a work in process. Not a work in process, sorry. That's 2 good jobs he's done in a row. He did it on Butters the week before. Now done it on Caleb Sarong. So I think this might be one that Stephen King can stick with and start sending him to the best player. Because what I've noticed about Colton Tholshaw, he's not short of a bit of a chat at all. And whenever there's a bit of a biff, he's right in there. So he's that type of really good person. I thought second half of last year, he was showing some really good signs as a defensive forward, or pressure forward is probably the better term. So now adding him into the midfield to play that role, going to the best opposition midfielder, or the most damaging midfielder is probably the better way to say it, because they don't always send it to the best player. They send it to the one that's going to hurt you the most. It's a really good move. One that no one really picked from last week. And once it happened, we saw it, we're like, oh, Jesus. And then he's gone and backed it up again this week on Caleb Sarong. So hats off to Colton Tholshaw. Hats off to Stephen King for making the move. But it was the Dockers who were just too good for the Demons on Saturday night. What's going to wrap up the first part of the reviews from round 2. Thank you guys for watching and listening along. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. Hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button as well, as we race towards 400 subscribers. If you're an audio listener, listen to this by Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn notification bell on so you're notified whenever we upload. Share this off to a mate who loves their footy and is so excited to have the footy season back, just like I am, and following it along pretty much every game, step by step, minute by minute, second by second. Share it off to that mate who is footy obsessed. And please, guys, remember, if you do enjoy this show, to leave a 5-star rating on the podcast. That does help share the show out there to newer listeners. Thank you guys for listening and watching along. And until next time, I'll see you guys then.